All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So in this one, I wanted to ask the question, what's really the plan at defensive tackle for the Jets, right? This is obviously a position of need. We don't, outside of Quinnen Williams, of course, it just doesn't really feel like we have like our franchise D tackle at this point in time, right before training camp. Hopefully someone emerges. But I felt like a lot of Jets fans, we were looking at the free agency market. We were looking at potential trades, obviously draft picks as well. And the Jets just made some minor moves in free agency, picking up, a couple vets here and there. We're going to go through them. But, as of right now, it seems like this is a pretty big... It's actually very similar to wide receiver, right? Where you have the one standout, Quinnen Williams, Garrett Wilson, and then you have a bunch of other guys where you're thinking, okay, can hopefully someone emerge? The assumption is the Jets are going to have better coaching on both sides of the football. Can someone step up? Maybe someone doesn't really look all that great right now based off of, whatever it may be, past games, his resume. But with this staff, maybe all of a sudden someone develops. Right, so imagine if we get word that Josh Reynolds is catching everything thrown his way in training camp. He's getting in the end zone, Moss in corners, like it's just great, right? That could definitely happen on the defensive side of the football as well with D tackle. But admittedly, that is an optimistic way to think about it, and that's not a foregone conclusion. So I think the first question, who is going to be the starting defensive tackle next to Quinnen Williams in 4 down sets? And I think right now I would opt for Terrick Naughty. Naughty is someone that really helped out this Chiefs defense throughout the years. He's a multiple Super Bowl championship winner, right? Someone who has a lot of experience. He's a veteran at this point in time. You look at his play style, he is kind of that archetype of a player or of a D tackle that should stop the run. He started a lot of games for Kansas City. Again, kind of was one of those important pieces for Spag's defensive line. But last season, we did see Naughty get relegated down to a backup, and so he didn't actually have any starts. He was kind of that rotational guy. A lot of fans said, production's starting to slip a little bit, and the Chiefs moved off. The Chiefs obviously had a couple different shakeups at the D tackle position, but in any case, 1-year deal with the Jets. I think right now when we take a look at the group, Naughty is probably the favorite to start, right? Because of that run stuffing experience. I don't necessarily want 2 pass rushers, in on early downs, first and second downs. Because when I look at Quinnen Williams, of course, a complete defensive tackle, but I think I would much rather have the bigger lane clogging run stuffer to hopefully free up Quinnen on one-on-one matchups and to give him pass rushing opportunities because we know his upside. We've seen dominant pass rushing seasons from Q. That's just my guess. I think right now that would be my preference. Now, another option is Brian Cohort, formerly of the Chicago Bears, Indianapolis Colts, and New England Patriots. And Cohort's someone that supposedly stood out through voluntary OTAs and mandatory minicamp. Been pretty impressive as far as the pass rushing skills, but of course, no contact, no pads. If you're an offensive lineman, you're at such a disadvantage, right? The defensive line should be taking advantage of these reps. They should be out there, making plays, looking explosive, looking effective. So not taking anything away from Cohort, but understanding that, hey, we need to look at the full picture here. There isn't even pads on these guys. The practices aren't all that physical. Now, if the good reports continue on through training camp, okay, now we're talking. Could this be a potential gem for this Jets squad? Cohort started a lot of games, right? We look back to, the 2020 season with Bill Belichick's Patriots, 17-game starter. And since then has bounced around a little bit, wound up with the Indianapolis Colts, and then found his way to the Chicago Bears. Missed a lot of games, throughout that timeline due to injury. But he is coming off the best season of his career with the Chicago Bears in rotational duties. Is he this pass rushing D tackle? Is he this run stuffing D tackle? I don't really feel good about saying like, oh, he's this type of D tackle. I would have to say he's more so, probably fit to be that pass rushing D tackle, but, I just don't think the what we've seen so far is enough to cement him as like, oh, he's this dominant pass rushing D tackle that needs to be in on third downs, no questions asked. So he's an interesting option to keep in mind here. Number 3, I think we got to talk about Leonard Taylor. Now, I don't know if Leonard Taylor is the ideal starter next to Quinnen Williams, but man, this guy has a tremendously high upside. I really like Leonard Taylor's ability to get off the football. I like his pass rushing skills. The Jets scooped him up as an undrafted free agent, but we all know he was mocked to go literally in round 4, round 5. Personally, I think this could be the guy where, hey, if it's a 3rd and long, right, 3rd and 7 and beyond, obvious situations where the offense is not going to be running the football and you just want to pin your ears back and go with Q and Leonard from the inside, I think that does make a lot of sense. I like Taylor's, again, just the overall potential with him as a player. I don't want to give up on him. I personally, I know it's a brand new coaching staff and they didn't bring Taylor in, but this is someone who, I'm going to be pretty disappointed if the Jets move on, right? They let him walk. He doesn't make the team, let alone practice squad. I think there could be something here with Leonard Taylor. The 4th option here is Jay Tufele, formerly of the Jaguars for 1 season and the Bengals for the last 3 years. Only 25 years old, so still young enough to get better. We know what Aaron Glenn can do with defensive players. But this, to me, I feel like is going to be the rotational run stuffer. That kind of feels like that was his role these past couple of seasons. He definitely has the size to do that. In the event that Terrick Naughty gets hurt, or if he disappoints, or if there's just a flat-out open competition, older vet versus the younger 25-year-old with experience, this is someone who I feel like could definitely, I could envision him starting next to Q. I honestly could. I would probably lean towards Naughty just because of the veteran experience, but I think there could be something here. And last but not least, we do have a couple of undrafted free agents that I feel like could turn some heads. Peyton Page from Clemson, someone who I'm really intrigued by. You look at the size, he checks that box. You look at the athleticism, he checks that box. He's coming off a great season for Clemson. Really, really impressive stuff in the ACC. Former 5-star coming out of high school. Problem is, didn't really impact Clemson all that much in his first, 3-4 years there. Just couldn't get on the field. There's been some weight questions before in the past, but, I think when we saw Page on the field last season, he definitely looked like an NFL player, in my opinion. So could this be a bottom of the roster type, almost in a similar position of Leonard Taylor last season, where he has a shot? It's a wide open position right now. Come in, open competition, new coaching staff, new scheme, Steve Wilks, calling plays. Let's see what this guy can do. We could also talk about Mulba from West Virginia, who is another undrafted free agent. Fedarian Mathis, a former 2nd rounder, formerly of the Washington Commanders. Maybe there's something there, but overall, I haven't really heard that many great things from Washington fans about Mathis. Been pretty disappointing up to this point. So again, I think it's clear that the Jets need help at this position. What's really the long-term plan here? I guess you're kind of hoping that someone rises to the occasion, someone steps up this season at some point, but I could easily see the Jets saying, hey, you know what? Next off season, if we're talking first round or one of these free agent acquisitions, the Jets right now are a top 5 team in cap space for 2026, like projected cap space, which is really encouraging. But it definitely feels right now, D tackle, wide receiver, those are the team's biggest positions of need. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. And as always, go Jets.